Hey, Treasure fans, your pal Big D back here again with another week news announcement. And this is for June 8th and June 15th, 2020. Those of you new to my channel, I like to do this every week where I talk about what's coming new on Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K for the current week and for the following week. Also, I talk about anything that was announced. Then usually towards the end, I talk to you about anything I may have picked up recently or any other movie news that I know of. So with all that said, let's get this started. So tomorrow, which is the obviously the 8th, we do have the big release tomorrow being the Indiana Jones series in 4K for the first time. They are releasing a box set of the Blu-rays, I believe the DVDs, and a 4K box set. There's a steelbook available for the 4K box set of this movies. Also, they are releasing them individually. I do not know if they're releasing them individually on 4K. I know on Blu-ray they did, but I have a sneaking suspicion they like to do this a lot, where they're not going to release them individually in 4K for a while. They'll wait to push out all the box sets first, and then later on you'll probably see, because I didn't see anything on there about them individually, but that's not to say they're not coming out individually. I just didn't see through my research. I saw them individually for Blu-ray, Blu-ray DVD combos with new packaging, but I just didn't see the 4K ones. So also tomorrow, we have 3 steelbooks coming out. I know one of which is Ferris Bueller's Day Off, will be at a Target tomorrow. Also, we have Some Kind of Wonderful and Pretty in Pink. I didn't see those on any of the ads, but I've been noticing a lot more steelbooks at Target, of all things, lately. Not just new ones, but also ones that used to be Best Buy exclusives are all of a sudden showing up at Target. So those will be available tomorrow. We also have Like Father, Like Son, The Lovebirds, which is a really funny movie, and Finding Forrester. Now, all these probably will be available to find in stores tomorrow, with the exception of Like Father, Like Son, probably Finding Forrester. That's probably ones you're going to have to order. But the rest of these, I do believe you should be able to find in stores tomorrow. Now, that's it for next week. This week. Let's talk about next week, the 15th. Now, that's a little bit bigger week. The bigger title coming out next week is going to be, obviously, Godzilla vs. King Kong. I've seen it. I loved it. I was really into it. I can't wait for this to come out. There is a DVD. There's a Blu-ray. There's a 3D Blu-ray and a 4K edition of this movie coming out, along with a 4K steelbook, exclusive steelbook that will come out also. One of the funny things I thought when there's a 3D Blu-ray coming out of this movie. It's been a while since I've seen a 3D movie come out. I actually kind of thought that they were kind of just not going to put those out at all anymore, seeing as they don't sell the TVs anymore. But I'll be darned if that's not coming out in 3D. So those of you who still have a 3D capability, which I unfortunately don't, still have a chance to get a brand new 3D movie. So that's pretty cool. Also, we have, let's see here, In the Line of Fire coming out in 4K for the first time tomorrow. We have, next week, we have Last Action Hero coming out in 4K next week. Now, the Steelbook came out a couple weeks ago, but there's the single regular release apparently was delayed for some reason. I'm not really sure whether maybe it was they wanted to put it out early. Maybe Best Buy got it early or something, but the regular edition does come out next week. Next week, we also do have Parks and Recreation, the entire series, coming out on Blu-ray for the first time. Shout Factory is releasing The Awakening next week. Kino Lorber is releasing Body Slam. There's a gem from the past. The movie Voyagers comes out next week on Blu-ray, DVD, and 4K. I just watched that last night. It's got Colin Farrell in it and the guy from Ready Player One, and Johnny Depp's daughter. And I actually really liked it. It's a very interesting movie. It's very Lord of the Flies. Like, it really reminds me of Lord of the Flies in space. So I actually really enjoyed it. I thought it was really weird. It's a very surreal movie in that it is slow-paced. Got to warn you, it's a little bit slow-paced, but I actually really enjoyed it. My wife did too. We really dug it. So that does come out next week. We have the movie Take This Job and Shove It. There's a classic from the past coming out on Blu-ray next week. And then Ultraman Zero Collection comes out. I wonder if that's a steelbook. I didn't see that. And then the last thing coming out next week is The Walking Dead: The World Beyond Season 1. I did sit through and watch that series. Not bad, but honestly, it's the weakest of the 3 series. Some of the acting is... I'm going to watch the series again, just because a lot of times I like to give a series a second chance. There is a season 2 commit. This was a limited series, though, so it's only 2 seasons of the show is going to be out. So, but some parts I thought were really good. Other parts, I felt some of the acting... My problem is a couple of the actors that are on the show I wasn't really a big fan of. I'm hoping maybe they'll be different moving forward. But it does come out next week, and of course I will get it because I got everything else Walking Dead. So there's that. Now, announcement-wise, since we're all done with what's coming out those 2 weeks, announcement-wise, we have a few things. Paramount Presents announced, actually today, 3 new titles coming out in August. We have A Place in the Sun coming out August 10th, Bugsy Malone coming out August 10th, and Nashville coming the 31st of August. So more Paramount Presents. Those are pretty nice. Paramount actually does a really good job with those movies. So those are coming out. Also, Shout Factory is releasing House of Wax, which is the Paris Hilton version, the more modern version of House of Wax. Now, the first thing I know is, oh, Paris Hilton sucks. Actually, I kind of like this movie. It does star Jared Padalecki, too, of Supernatural fame. I actually kind of like this. Some of the effects are pretty good in it. And it's a good kind of popcorn movie. It's definitely not the best horror movie ever made. It's cheesy, but it's fun. So, and we know Shout Factory will load a bunch of stuff on it. So that's coming out on the 13th of July. Rad, which was out a few months ago and only came out in steelbook form. Mill Creek is now releasing just a straight Blu-ray form with no steelbook, and that'll be out on the 17th of August. And the last title they just announced, that's the big title, and that is the recent Mortal Kombat movie that just came out. They have announced that for the, what do I have down here? It looks like the 13th of July also. There's going to be a DVD, a Blu-ray, a 4K, and there is an exclusive 4K steelbook for that one as well. So that is it for this week, next week, and anything majorly announced. Now getting into some other things. Looks like rumors are floating around that Viacom is up for sale. As you know, Viacom company also owns Paramount Pictures. So there's been some floating news around lately about that and what may happen with that. It looks like they maybe do some restructuring to possibly sell it. Some of the people that are looking into it right now, the biggest group looking into it is Amazon. And for one reason more than other, apparently Jeff Bezos is a big Star Trek fan. Paramount, of course, owns the rights to the entire Star Trek franchise. They have since its inception. So, he may be buying it for Star Trek. Apparently he's a big Star Trek fan. I don't know. A lot of this is just rumor right now, but I have seen little things that Viacom's been doing lately to kind of restructure and kind of do little things a little bit differently. Same thing MGM was doing before they were bought out by Amazon. Was it Amazon? Yeah. Before MGM was bought out recently. So, gotta be careful with rumors. Everything's set in stone. But I do know that it seems like there's this, there's this kind of new revolution of these bigger corporations buying up these studios. Disney's obviously a big corporation. They basically just bought Fox, and they got Marvel, and they bought Disney, Star Wars, and they're looking into, they are a front runner also too. The rumor is around that they're looking at Viacom very seriously too, which if that does happen, I am not happy about that at all. Star Trek is the only thing that competes against Star Wars. They're the two big sci-fi franchises. Of course, there's a lot of other franchises out there, from Battlestar Galactica to Stargate to all these other franchises. But let's be honest, two longest running franchises that have had the most bang for their buck over the years has been Star Wars and Star Trek. So me personally, because there's also a rumor floating around that, Disney may buy Warner Brothers. Again, they own Marvel and they would own DC. So I don't know about this. There's a fear in me, and I hope I'm wrong, but there's a fear in me that if Disney were to buy Viacom and own Star Trek, I fear that they would shelve it. And I say this because it'd be a lot easier for them as a studio just to focus on Star Wars than to have to focus on Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and Star Trek. I just don't see all that happening. I see them shelving some stuff for a while. Let's be honest. When they bought Fox, pretty much they shelved the Alien series, the Predator series. Now there is another Predator movie apparently in the works. Apparently they're going to do a reboot of Predator, going back to the original. No Arnold Schwarzenegger. Apparently it's going to be a female lead this time that will fight the Beast, and start to reboot the franchise. Not happy about it. I think that, in my personal opinion, Predator is pretty near close to a perfect action monster movie and a creature feature type thing, and it bums me out that there may be I don't mind another thing, but to go back and to just redo it, I don't know. I struggle with that. If they were going to do another Predator movie, a standalone Predator movie with the new crew, stuff like that, but because they're going back and rebooting it, I don't like reboots a lot of times. I think a lot of times reboots end up really messing up a franchise. Now, that's just to say that Predators had a lot of great movies. I've been a fan of all of them. Some of them have obviously been way weaker than others. But I just, when it comes to rebooting, in my opinion, Predator, the original Predator, it's just really hard. I mean, and then you look at what they've done with the Aliens franchise. Have we heard anything? I heard rumors for a while they were going to do another series. They were going to do this, but then it all keeps falling away. You know, I think about, look at the Die Hard series and all these great series that Fox has and that Disney now owns, and they're kind of just shelved a lot of it. And they're not really this. You hear rumors here and there, but they're always just rumors. There's nothing coming out from Disney that says anything about this. So this is what I worry about. This is why I'm on my soapbox now, because I worry about this stuff. I worry that they'll shelve Star Trek. Star Trek's gone through a lot of growing pains over the course of years. And yes, I know I'm a major fan of it. Obviously, I am. You can see characters up there. I mean, I build Star Trek models, for crying out loud. I'm working on a 1/350 scale of the Enterprise right now as my hobby. So I do worry about that because I can see Disney doing that. And at the same recourse, does anybody out there think that Disney might be getting a little too big for their britches? You know, maybe somebody needs to step in maybe a little bit, because it's kind of like, you know, everything's being consolidated into two companies. I was talking to my wife the other day, and I go, you know, eventually everything's going to either be owned by Amazon or going to be owned by, you know, Disney at this point, it feels like. You know, it just feels like everything's being consolidated down to one. And when that ends up happening, you lose a lot of variety. You lose a lot of risk takers, because these bigger corporations don't have a tendency to take the risks that a lot of these smaller studios would. So that's what I'm worried about. I hope it doesn't happen. Obviously, I'm probably just being way off kilter here, but it just feels like that if these studios are being bought up by these other companies, I've already seen some of it happen. And a lot of these newer companies, like Netflix, is a front runner to buy a couple of these things. Well, my biggest problem with Netflix is Netflix doesn't release their movies on DVD and Blu-ray anymore. They used to, but they stopped doing it. So these programs go onto these things, God, because Netflix is apparently a front runner. They're looking heavily at Viacom too, because they want to go up against Amazon, who just got out MGM. So, you know, they don't put their stuff out. They used to. They used to put their stuff out. The biggest problem was, and they cite Stranger Things as an example of, like, we put Stranger Things out, it didn't sell as well as we thought it would. You put out way too much of Stranger Things. My God. I remember when the first one came out on Blu-ray, every Target was just, after the initial run, they got another run in, and every Target was just overloaded. And in season 2, they just overloaded. And then, of course, there's no season 3. So they're not... I don't know. Netflix has put out a lot of really good movies that I've really enjoyed. They're Netflix exclusives. Bird Box being one of them. I actually really enjoy Bird Box. Good luck to find that on Blu-ray. I did find it on Blu-ray from a company called Stinky Tuna, but they no longer can put out those movies anymore. I think they got in trouble or something happened with them, so they can't put those movies out anymore. So that's how I got Eurovision. I got that too. My wife's a big fan of that movie, so. But it's really sad that, you know, that's kind of the way things are going. And those streaming services, of course the streaming services want to buy this stuff up. They don't want to have physical media out there. They want it all be on, so you're forced to keep Netflix. I've been trying for the last 2 years to get rid of Netflix. And every time I think, okay, I'm going to do it, they put something else. I'm like, dang, I really like that, like Army of the Dead. You know, I really like that movie. It's like, ugh. So until I can get myself, you know, some sort of copy or bootleg or something, I don't know, you kind of stuck. So I don't like this era we're moving into. Unfortunately, I'm somebody that, I've said this before on this channel more time and time again, how I'm somebody that really likes to have physical. I like to have physical media. I like to have to hold my hands up. I'm going to drop $20, $30 on a movie. I want something to hold. I don't want it just to be on my thing. And best example. So my wife and I, after we watched Voyagers last night, we're like, okay, same lines. Let's watch Passengers, the Chris Pratt, Jennifer Lawrence movie. And I had the digital copy. I uploaded the digital copy. We're like, let's just watch the digital copy. I don't want to go look for it in the shelf right now. Gone. I had to re-put the copy in because for some reason it got dropped off. So again, I mean, it's just there's just were some interesting times. I don't know how everything's going to head. I don't know where everything's going to go, but I just know that things are definitely not going to be the same anymore. And I don't mind change as long as it makes sense. But the reason why this doesn't make sense to me is because they're not doing it for anything else as a money grab. That's the only reason why they're doing this, as a money grab. And to force you to keep these streaming services, to force you to keep these things that you don't really necessarily want. But if you want to watch that movie or something like that, have access to that, you've got to have that. So that's just kind of the way things are going. So us physical media people out there, you know, we're going to end up having to run into a real big brick wall here in a few years where we're just not going to be able to walk out there and as much and be able to buy these things. So as these studios go more and more, because even look at Disney, for example, they've even come out and said that they've backed off on 4K to an extent. Like they're not going back and doing catalog titles in 4K unless they're already in the works. Like with Fox stuff, we were lucky we got Speed because that was already in the works before the buyout happened. But some of the other titles that we kind of would really love to see, even love to see on Blu-ray because they never come out on Blu-ray. You know, like oh gosh, let's see, what hasn't come out on Blu-ray? You know, True Lies, The Abyss. You know, they're just not focused on catalog. They're focused on moving forward. The only catalog they've been doing lately that I've noticed is their movie club. They did put up like Black Cauldron recently and a couple other titles that haven't been before on Blu-ray, but that's just not their focus. Their focus is the current stuff. The current stuff. Their old stuff, whatever. So, that's kind of the state of things, and that's kind of where my thought process is, and I'm a little bit nervous about things, but in life, everything has to change. So, that is said with that. Don't forget, also this week, Dollar Tree, and then some people have already started spotting it, Dollar Tree does have movies this week. They're officially their deal of the week on the 11th, which I believe is Friday. Is it Friday? I'm filming this today on the 7th. Yeah, it should be Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Dollar Tree's going to be getting them. I've seen some people get some stuff already. There's Disney stuff in this shipment. Somebody found, was it the Rise of, I think it was the Rise of Skywalker, or not the Rise of Skywalker, I always forget this. They found a couple Star Wars movies. I know The Force Awakens was one of them. And also they found like a Dumbo, the live action Dumbo, and a couple other Disney flicks. So Disney flicks are even starting to flow into these things now, which again leads me to what I'm saying about them kind of just unloading stuff, because you didn't really very rarely ever find a Disney title at Dollar Tree. It's just Disney charges premium prices for their movies. You walk into Best Buy, for example, when you look at a Disney titles, some of this has been out 3 and 4 years, it's still $25. You know, they don't lower their prices. Disney considers their movies at a premium, and they keep their movies, especially their animated stuff, at a premium price throughout the entire length of their, and they've done that all along. I remember back when I worked at Suncoast back in the day, it was all VHS before DVD didn't come out. They were the same way with VHS too. Remember they'd put out like Sleeping Beauty and it'd go back to their vault, you know? But that VHS never came down in price. We'd struggle at that store all the time. We want to put this stuff on sale, but we couldn't because Disney wanted a premium price for their stuff. So it was always really hard. The cheapest we'd go with a VHS with Disney a lot of times. Now, I'm not talking like, you know, a minor like DuckTales or something like that. You know, it's not a theatrical release, but their major theatrical releases and a lot of their animated were $20, and that's about all you go down. Every once in a while, we'd slip by a $17.99, but that's just the way that they are. That's how Disney operates. Disney wants premium prices for everything that they sell. So, you know, I just don't know how this is all going to play out. You know, I just don't, I'm not sure how it's all going to play out. But, you know, if you have these movies, hold on to them and just be glad we've got them, you know. So with that being said, again, Dollar Tree movies, they're out. Go for them. I know I'm getting excited. I've already hit the $2 trees in my town. Neither one of them put them out yet, which was really funny because usually the one that's like a block away from my house, usually they throw those things out like a week early, and they don't. So not sure how that's all going to play out. I'm going to hit a Dollar Tree tomorrow in my brother's hometown because I'm watching Cobb tomorrow, Cobb and his sister. So I'll be looking there tomorrow. But yeah, that's it for that. Any other sales going on? Not that I could think of anything major right now. Be on the lookout though this week. I forgot to put my Army of the Dead review out. I forgot about that. I'm totally sorry. It's ready to go too, so that should be coming out later this week. And also, the coolest thing that got to happen with all the stuff that my family has gone through lately, I did get a little bit of cool stuff I got to do yesterday. And yesterday was, I had to, my mother-in-law has to go up to Stanford University to do radiation therapy for her cancer. And being up there, Rasputin Records, my favorite place of all places when I get to get my hunting, is open. Now, they're only open certain days of the week and only for a certain amount of hours. And yesterday, I've had a box of movies I've wanted to get rid of since before the pandemic. I mean, literally since February of last year, which was the last time I was there. Right after I got back, I was going through some of my movies and stuff like that, and I got this huge box together. And it's just been sitting in my closet for over about 16 months now because I haven't been able to go up there. They've had weird trading policies because what they were doing for the longest time was after things started to open up a little bit and they opened back up, they were doing this thing. If you want to bring movies to trade in, you have to bring them in, and they'd let them sit there in a corner for 3 days before they start going through them. And for me to drive to Rasputin Records to San Jose, that's about a 35-40 mile drive for me from where I live. So sometimes, you know, it's not easy to, and you have to go up this really, there's a thing what we call the hill. It's Highway 17, which is a really windy uphill road you have to go over to go down into San Jose and stuff like that. So it's not the easiest thing in the world. And most of in Santa Cruz, where my hometown, most of our roads are still 2 lanes when it comes to the freeway. So it can be kind of difficult to get over San Jose a lot. So I had to go over there and drop them off because they're going to Stanford. And on my way back, I was like, I'm going. So I did go. I managed to get a chunk of change for the stuff I traded in. They did it right there. Matter of fact, they were like, "You have any more?" So I did manage to get a stack about this big of about that big of movies. I got a couple steel books. I got some cool stuff. They were out of a lot. The last time I was there, which was again 16 months ago, their shelves were overflowing, and then I walked in and I was like, "Whoa, where'd some of the movies go?" But I did manage to find some really cool things. I'm really excited. So be on the lookout later this week because that video will be out as well. And that is it for now. Gosh, 21 minutes. I am super, super sorry. I'm sorry I was on my soapbox for so long. But the guys that hung in there, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Matter of fact, I'll show you something I just got in the mail the other day. I watched this movie. I finally got it, which is Chaos Walking on Steelbook, 4K Steelbook. I watched this the other day. This is still Steelbook because I just got it. But I did watch it the other day. I really enjoyed this movie. This was a trip. This is a different kind of movie, but I really, really enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of both actors, whether it be Daisy Ridley or Tom Holland. I love both these actors. So I watched this, and I really liked this. Some people are panning it, but I really enjoyed it. I got the 4K Steelbook, so I'm pretty stoked on that. So there's a little something extra for you that if you dropped out beforehand, you wouldn't see. But otherwise, again, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share. The bell will notify you when I put up new videos. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody take care and be safe out there. Always keep hunting because you know what? You never know what you're going to find, especially when you go to Rasputin. And as always, live long and prosper. Bye.